Welcome to another edition of the Garden Angels of Justice and Peace with your host, Pearl Polto.
And Josie Brandon.
Every week we have fantastic shows for you, and these shows are going to hit the heart and soul of everybody out there. We hope, and we will. And we're trying to do every topic out there to let you know these shows are real and your households are real. And in order to affect you, we want to know what's hitting home. We're not going to play act nothing. We're not going to, read by scripts, as you see. Some shows will be funny. Some shows will be serious. And some shows, it's going to get to the root of things. The show today, I don't know. Let's ask Josie. What's the show today?
we like you said, we have the serious, we have all, but today's show is really about, do you believe in miracles, and why do you believe in miracles, and just being touched by something special in your life? Because I think I've experienced, and I'm sure you have too, people that have had encounters or experiences that are kind of unexplained, and yet they believe it's an angel, they believe it's something entered their life, but they don't really talk about it. Or you have the people who don't even realize that something really just graced them and it's a miracle. So today is, do you believe in miracles, and why?
Well, we're going to give some personal experiences today. And, and some people doesn't believe in miracles. And the reason why, they say, well, things don't happen to me. And just because you said things don't happen to me, it won't happen. And those of you that get messages, those of you that lost loved ones, and they give you messages as well. Or things could happen in your life. Let's say you win a lottery, who knows? Or let's say you got that job promotion. Or let's say you met somebody new. Or let's say you just got married and you never thought you were going to get married again. Or let's say you got a new job. All these things have meanings. And let's suppose you sit back in your living room and you say, hey, what's happening? This is really strange that's going on in my life. Well, it's not strange. If you look at it as strange, you'll never understand it. A lot of people, some believe in miracles. Majority of you will say, nah, facts are facts. I always call it the doubting Thomases. Me personally, I've always believed in miracles because miracles miracles happen every day in your life. It happens to your loved ones. It happens to everybody in your life. It could be your animal. It could be your friend. It could be your neighbor. Miracles happen every day, and you see it happens every day. Somebody that has cancer, and all of a sudden the cancer's gone, and you say, what happened? Or somebody that wasn't working for all these years, and you call it coincidence. The word coincidence, people likes to put logic, and people likes to put sayings and words to everything. And these are the people that I always say God has powers. And the powers that God has, it's so strong. It's so strong that sometimes he gives you the message. And sometimes you don't pick the message up. And if you don't pick the message up, you'll never find a miracle. Because God's given you these miracles. And this is what it's all about. Let's let Josie, let her join in. What do you think? Do you believe in miracles?
Oh my goodness, absolutely yes. I absolutely believe in miracles, and there's I could tell you countless stories, and some of them are personal to share. They're one of the stories I'll share at maybe a dinner table and things of that nature. But I absolutely do believe in miracles, and I've seen things happen. I've experienced other people sharing stories with me about things that have happened in their lives, and yes, I absolutely do believe in miracles, and it's true. The first thing you said when you started the show, you said if you believe in them, then great, and if you don't, you'll never see them. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to put out there, is that it's really your belief system. If you don't believe it, like, oh, this never happened, you never happened. Well, you know what? You're not inviting the opportunity to see the miracle happen, because you're automatically saying it over and over again. You don't believe it, but it depends on your mind, your mindset, and what you allow. If once faith sets in, a lot of things begin to happen. You start seeing miracles.
There's, sometimes a lot of people think they're blessed, and a lot of people think, miracles happen every day around them. And I am going to say a personal thing, and I'm not going crazy, and it does happen. But my mother died. Let me give you a personal experience. My mother died a few years ago, and she died around Easter, and I gave her a blanket, and on this blanket was her name. I had her name engraved on it, and it was a red robin. And 4 weeks ago, well before Easter, 4 weeks ago, I came home, and there was this robin at the bottom of my steps, and the robin was still alive, but I thought it was either pregnant or the robin was sick. And I looked at the robin and went eye to eye with me. And I looked at it, and I never went eye to eye with a bird, but I went eye to eye with this bird. And then I thought, I talked to the bird, and I said, I don't want to walk on you. Thank God the lights went on, so I jumped over it. And when I went inside, it bothered me because I thought there's so many cats in my area and on my street that these cats would have went to the bird if it was sick or was pregnant. So it bothered me to the point I had to go back outside. I was going to get a little box to put this bird in. And when I went outside, the bird was gone. And when the bird was gone, well, let me fast forward it. When my mother passed away, she had roses, yellow roses that we planted in the front. And right in the front, that's where this robin went. Now, you have to picture a wrought iron. If a bird was sick, he would have to fly over to get into this traption of a garden, or he'd have to squeeze through. And if he's sick, you know he's not going to squeeze through. So how did this bird, you know a cat's not going to put him in there, or a kid's not going to put him in there. But anyway, the bird was in there, and the bird was dead. And I knew the bird was sick for the bird to be dead. But then we looked, and all the neighbors and all the people on the street concentrated on this bird. Why? Because you know when something dies, what happens? Flies come on it, and it starts smelling, and the bird decays. Well, it didn't happen with this bird. No flies. If one fly came on it, it flew off. And we all watched this. So everybody on the neighborhood watched this bird, even though it was dead, and I refused to bury it. I refused to put it into a trash. I refused all this because I thought there was a meaning in back of this bird. So every day I would go outside and I would look at this bird to see if it was still there, because since it moved from the beginning of it. When it did, one day, now this is Easter now, 4 weeks later, I come outside, the bird's moved. He's standing up. He's standing up beside the rose bush that was planted there. Standing up. This is no lie, people. It was standing up. Now, Josie can count for herself because she's seen it.
Came to your house and looked at the bird.
So, and I call it the bird. So everybody that walks by, they said, this is miraculous because who is this bird? So it bothered me because I wasn't sure which one of my loved ones had passed away. This bird was, who was giving me a message. And the bird is actually standing up, looking, like protecting the house, but his eyes are still there. And when you look at the bird, he'll actually be looking at you. So, this bird not only stood up and watches the house, but then it got to the point where I said, there has to be a message in this, but I just didn't know what the message was. So I was outside again talking to a neighbor, and the neighbor came up and she said, well, I went up to Home Depot because it was a robin. I wanted to do some homework on what a robin is. And robin means good luck, and it means spring is in the air, and it definitely means good luck in the household. So what I did is I went up to the Home Depot, the nearest Home Depot, and I bought all these red robins, and I put it in front, right beside the bird, and I stuck it all over the place. And then I realized, after they did the homework, that the blanket that I gave my mother for Easter had her name, as I said, and a red robin on it. But the crazy part was, as I'm sitting there talking to my neighbor, she said, do you see what just flew in front of you? And it was a red robin. And I said, now I know who the message was from. It's from my mother.
And also, you have to mention that the robin was next to your mom's yellow roses.
Yellow roses.
So that was the other thing. And now some people would just think of that situation as being, oh, yeah, there's a bird here or nothing. But, I mean, we believe that these are sometimes signs that occur, and you got to pay attention to those signs.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because after this robin, the message was that we seen this red robin. We knew this was a message in this. And as Josie just said, how many times did this happen to people? Now, I'm more in tuned to miracles. I'm in tune to miracles. So is Josie.
Yes,
but if you were not in tuned, you would say, let's bury the bird. This is not a coincidence. Maybe it's your loved one that's trying to come through. Maybe it's God that's kind of come through, but people wouldn't pick it up. And this is why we're not picking up the messages or the miracles, as we said at the beginning.
Yes, because everyone wants to be in this logical sense of, that everything's so logically formatted.
Or they don't believe.
And here's the great thing is that, like you said, we are in tune with the fact that these things are happening. We've experienced them. And it's so wonderful when you can get into a group to talk about it and say, this is what happened. I've got to share this thing that happened to
Yeah.
me. And everybody's on the same page of understanding. And there's still people, there might be people out there that are saying, could this have really happened? And, I can tell you stories. I have an aunt of mine who just shared this story recently with me, who said that her son was in the front seat of his car driving, and to prevent an accident, there was somebody who showed up in the seat next to him, telling him to turn the wheel. So I mean, there's a lot of stories, and just to have him, it sounds kind of corny, but
No, it's
somebody
not.
ended
No,
up
it's
sitting
not.
next to him, and you hear these stories, and you're like, oh my goodness. But I've had personal things that have happened to me too, and they're long stories. So I want because of the time and the elements of the show. But I definitely do believe in miracles, and I do see them happen every day, and I do see people sharing their stories.
What's the purpose why people, majority of the people, or some of the people, do not believe in miracles? What is the reason that you feel that some people either they don't believe or they think it's out of their out of the ordinary? Why do you think that a lot of people do not believe in miracles, or they do believe it and they're afraid to talk about it because they think somebody's going to say they're crazy?
Well, I think I'm sure everybody has their own specific reason. One of them maybe is that they're afraid to be judged. Someone's going to think, like you said, that they're crazy. That's probably maybe why they don't share it. But I think mostly it really comes down to, I think, partly is maybe your upbringing. If you had parents or somebody in your life who allowed that area of your life to be okay to talk about or to share, maybe they had stories and they shared them with you, and so you were more open to receiving those stories. I'm sure you've had stories, your mom told you something or your father told you something that they experienced, and then you experience some things because your world is expanded with them telling you the stories.
Hmm.
So some of these adults now who maybe didn't have it as a child, didn't have someone so that's kind of been closed off to them. They're not receiving the messages yet because they're not opening to that themselves yet to understanding that those miracles could exist to them too. These coincidences that we talk about are really not coincidences. They're really God stepping
Let's
in.
talk about that. Let's talk
Yes.
about that because the biggest miracle is the guardian angels of justice and peace. Don't you
Yes.
agree?
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
talk about that.
Well, okay, so we basically, long and short of it is that you interviewed me because of my album that came out in the music, and that was taking off on the radio stations, and we connected, but we connected very differently than most. Usually when someone calls to reach me for an interview, whether it's a broadcaster or a DJ or something, it's basically all about music, and we talk about the music. But our connection was very, very different. We had an instant connection that even didn't relate to music. It
Mm-hmm.
was more spiritually
Mm-hmm.
based. And we just started talking. And I remember I asked you a question, and it was a question I don't normally discuss with anybody. I shared it with you, and you returned with me and you shared with me so openly the response to
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's how the miracle happened. Here you are in Philadelphia, I'm in Arizona. We've never met each other before. You're a busy woman in your industry. I'm a busy woman in mine. We just happened to make the connection. You're calling to do an interview with me, and it ended up being much more than an interview. It ended up being that I connected with what I believe to be my soul sister. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
just so many things that has happened in your life
Yeah.
that has happened in my life. We just like, this happened to you too. Have you experienced this? Did you? Oh my goodness. And then we just realized there's just too many coincidences, as
Mm-hmm.
we say, that we realized that there was something special here. And look at what's happened. I mean, from a conversation of an interview, here we are on a global network and discussing all the aspects of what we're doing. We having all these programs, these shows that we're putting together to empower the world. We met the man that worked with Martin Luther King. We're about to meet the president of the United States, later in the year. I mean, this is really a miracle because of what we've put together here to help restore American lives.
And yesterday we went to Burl's World, and we sat down with him, and he believes in many, miracles that are out there, and he sees what we're doing, and he also believes, it's a miracle what we're doing for the people, and this is his whole full trust in it, what's happening out there. I'm going to go with an image, and Josie knows about it. I received a call from a person from New York. It's called Twin Flame.
Yes.
Well, many of you heard about that, many of you didn't hear about that. We talk about miracles. What is a twin flame? And it's interesting because I never heard the word. You may not have heard the word. I know you're looking it up right now on your dictionary or your computer. But this is what twin flame is. And it was really strange because this is another kind of a miracle. It could happen in your life and you don't even know it. You may not even know it and it may not happen to you yet. But when it does happen, you're going to know the word. The word is called twin flame. Now, what is a twin flame? You have a personality. You have your own character. You have everything that's there. You look in the mirror, you see yourself, you do things, and you're one of a kind, you think. And then there's somebody on the other side of the state, let's say California. And this person in California is looking in the mirror. She's looking the same way you are. She has the same interest as you have. She's doing everything you are. And you're saying, wow, no one's like me. And then all of a sudden something happens and you two of you are connected. Now, there was two people are connected into one. And the one is the miracle helping. The twin flame is the two people at that time comes together to act in the purpose of God to help the rest of the world. Sounds crazy, but if you look it up, you're going to see. You're doing one thing, this person's doing another. And then all of a sudden, the two people, you think that no one is like you, they're your duplicate. You're looking in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, then you become one. Well, God says with the twin flame, that he wants more power with two, more so than one.
When two or more are gathered.
When two or more are gathered,
yes,
to help what's going on in this country. Well, I mean, Josie looks in the mirror. She looks at me. I look in the mirror. I see her. But we have the same interest. We have the same everything, our mission. And when I told you about the twin flame, didn't you think that was either extraordinary or a miracle or something that God put together?
Yeah, I mean, there's just when you sent me that video clip, and it explained it. I looked at that and I said, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing." Because there's just so many things as far as how we look at the world and how we see things, and even experiences. They talk about experiences, how you've had some parallel experiences in your life. There's just so many aspects of it. And yes, I do believe in that. I do believe in the twin flame. I also believe there are some things that you've experienced that are different than me and I've experienced, but yet we're here as a twin flame to help each other. And by helping each other, because our ultimate purpose is not only for that we found love in each other as a family would feel, but also to find love in restoring, like our love is so pure and so well intended that now we're taking all that energy that together and allowing it to give it to the people out there who are looking for an opportunity to enhance their lives. And I believe that that's what really God is working with. He's saying, okay, you both are ready. You have this drive, the ability to make it come together. I'm going to bring you guys together. I'm going to have you guys do what you need to do, and then I'll make the impossible possible through the grace of God.
Now, if you don't call that a miracle, I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call it. But maybe you're sitting there saying, wow, wait a minute. There's a person in my life that I'm connecting with. Well, look up the word and look at this person. If it's a duplicate, if she ends your sentences, or if he or she or whatever, if they end your sentences, if you think alike, if you're talking and you could talk. See, another thing, Josie and I would talk for hours and hours and hours and hours on the phone about everything and nothing. But as we talked, we didn't realize what we were doing. We were accomplishing something for the world.
We were manifesting. We didn't even realize it.
We didn't even realize it.
We were manifesting things, and the next day what would happen is our phone would ring, we get a call or we get an email with the subject material that we were working on to make it come to life, and all of a sudden you call me and you're like, Josie, you won't believe what I got in my email today. And I'm like, you won't believe the call that I got today. I mean, that's really what happens. And that's when we knew something special was happening.
Something was going on. We called it a miracle. We still call it a miracle because we're not done. We're not finished with the accomplishment. And the miracle that we are not accomplished with is helping the world because things do exist. But Josie is sensitive, so am I. We pick it up. We're picking up everything that's going on. You may not pick it up. You may say, coincidence. No, this is not a coincidence. The bird was not a coincidence. Josie and I are not a coincidence. If we said everything was a coincidence.
And you're not a coincidence. I mean, a lot of times, people, first of all, how can you say miracles? How could anyone say a miracle doesn't happen? You look at a baby being born. That's a miracle in itself. You start seeing the miracles. And just the fact that, there's certain things that we experience in life. I mean, what really has to what do you believe why someone would not believe in a miracle? What does your
Well,
perception?
I call it the doubting Thomas again, because a lot of people will say, I have to see it right in front of my face before I think it's real. So the average person, I think I'm more sensitive. I always say I'm very spiritual, but I have to, I have to look at messages, and I take the messages where the average person and some people would say, I have to have it right in front of my face to say, this is a glass. Well, I may look at this and say, yeah, it's a glass. It looks like a glass to me, but I'm seeing something inside of it. Water, it's cold water. But the thing is, if that's not a miracle, but the thing is, look how we're looking at it differently. You're looking at certain things that are differently. Like, what would you have done with that bird? I already know what you have done with that bird. Majority of the people would have tossed it, would have buried it. I didn't. So I looked at it something different. Now the whole neighborhood is looking at it something differently. They're not looking at it as a dead bird that just died. They're looking at it as, this is a message. Now everybody that didn't believe in miracles are saying there's something to this. There's got to be something to this. There's so many things that happen in people's lives. There's so much congestion in this world. There's so much aggravation. There's so much financial problems. There's so many houses foreclosure. There's so many marriages getting divorced. We're not even picking up where we're supposed to pick up. And these,
Amen. Love
and,
that.
and what
Yes.
we're picking up, we should be picking up is, we're not going to die with money in our pocket. We're not, it's like the old story. There was an attorney, and he was rich with billions of dollars, and he said to his wife, you know what? I want you to bury my money with me. I'm so greedy. I want you, and the producer's doing it too. But this is what this one attorney said. I'm so greedy. I want you to bury my money with me. And the wife said, fine. And he died. He had a heart attack. And what happened was, he was in his coffin. And the wife said, I have to respect his wishes. She wrote him out a check for $1 million and put it in the coffin with him. Well, not she was a bounce check, but
It was a bounce check?
But she did exactly what he said. She wrote him out a check for $1 million because he wanted to be buried with it. And that goes to prove a point. I used to say that at my seminars with that story, because it proved a point that people are looking at different attitudes. They're not looking at mirrors. They're not looking at people. They're not looking at love. They're looking at what's going on in this country, and that's not a miracle at all, but miracles can happen. So if you look at what's going on inside of us, we're going to find our own miracles, and our own miracles are from within.
Agreed. Adding on to that is that, I've seen people who spend an entire lifetime who really don't want to open up that vessel of acknowledging that there's miracles, and their lives are not expanded. I mean, they're basically never happy all the time. They don't, they're wondering why things don't happen. I mean, because they're in that closed mindset of saying it doesn't happen. And the word that we would want to give out to our viewers is, what if tomorrow you woke up and said, all right, God, I'm willing to see, you're not testing them. You're simply saying, here's what I would say. Allow my eyes to see what they need to see and my ears to understand what I need to understand. Allow me to see things that most people would not see as being a miracle, and allow me to see it. And that's, you start to see some of these things happen. You'll start to see, like, I know a story where a person was talking about they're looking for a job, and they were sharing a story of what they were good at, and they just so happened to be sitting next to a CEO who was looking for that exact position in their company to fill that spot. And now, most people would say, "Oh, that's a coincidence," and I would say, "No. That was divine intervention. That was God saying, okay, this encounter was designed to happen because, this meeting was designed to happen." Almost think about even meeting a significant other, a spouse or somebody.
I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Let's go in your direction now.
Okay.
Because this was a miracle I seen, and I think you'll agree with me,
Okay.
when you were on an airplane. Josie was on an airplane, and it was interesting because and we were texting each other on the airplane, and I said to her, I hate to see anybody travel alone, but I said to her on the airplane, I really hope somebody special sits beside you. And
Well, first of all, we got to share the story of the actual flight itself. I had a long day. It was a long, long day. and it was one of those stressful days because I had gone and I was being an advocate for in the court system, taking care of some things with the court system as an advocate for certain issues. And I ended up getting to the airport. It was starting to snow. There's snow all over the place. And so I was just, I think I may have called you. I'm trying to remember if I called you. And I said, I really had a real long day. And, it's snowing outside. And, the plane might need to be canceled because of the snow. So I get on the plane and I sit down. And, of course, I'm busy, texting the information of how my stressful day was. And all of a sudden, I look to my right. And there are two priests, not one. But two priests
who spoke Italian.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Okay, two priests sitting next to me. They were in their priest clothing, and they spoke Italian. Now, those of you that don't know, I'm first generation. I'm Italian, so they didn't speak hardly any English. They spoke broken English. We're changing, but I sat there. I'm writing, and I'm like, oh, I was just letting out my stresses, and all of a sudden, I turn, I see the two priests. They're talking Italian. I end up talking to them, and then I had a moment where I said, "Are we gonna die? Is this my time to tell the priest? Not one, but two."
my confessions here.
But okay, so where's the miracle with that? Because what happened is I was able to sit down and talk to these two priests in Italian, and we were sharing and stuff, and the miracle for me, the coincidence was that what did you say to me? I'm trying to remember.
I said I wrote and I said I want somebody special to sit beside you. Well, I did not think it was going to be a priest, not one but two that spoke Italian to you.
Yes.
And when you said two, not one, two priests, but you see, miracles happen, and sometimes people realize, in different phases, that was a miracle. It really was, because it was a snowstorm and things were happening.
They had to de-ice the plane, and it was just amazing. Then we started talking about spiritual things and how they saw how they saw things within their laws of being a priest and things of that nature, and we just shared and stuff, and it was a great exchange. But most people would just think, oh, I'm sitting next to a priest.
I'm sitting next to a priest.
They're
See, you're not picking it up. You're not looking.
Yes.
They're not looking.
Yes.
And maybe you're missing your miracle. You could be missing your miracle.
Yes.
And the people that walk in to say, well, I don't see any miracles, it's not going to happen. What do you want a miracle to look like? What do you want it to be? You want it to knock on the door to say, I'm a miracle. So what do you want a miracle to look like? Maybe I'm sensitive. Maybe you should be more sensitive, because sensitivity is the universe. Sensitivity is God. He's the one who's putting these powers right in front of you. And yet you're bouncing it. Like, what would happen if I would have buried that bird? I wouldn't have known there was a message there, a hidden message. What would have happened if Josie and I didn't text that night on the airplane at two priests? And I'm saying, I hope there's a special person that sits beside you.
And he was special. The priest definitely was special.
And here she is.
So cute.
Here I am concerned about her. I don't know why. I do know why. She had a stressful day. But the thing is, she had a stressful day. She's on an airplane. She's all by herself, and she's going through all these emotions. And I wanted a special person to sit beside her, to keep her company, to talk, whatever. Not knowing it was going to be two priests. And I'm saying, thank you, God. So, but you see, that's a miracle. That's a miracle. And you're missing your miracles because you don't believe in them. You're missing your miracles because you think only godlike people have miracles, or you're thinking that only the priests, the nuns, or whatever people have are given miracles. It's wrong. Miracles are happening every day. You're just not picking them up. I think starting today, get a homework book. And I mean, I'm not saying writing it every day, but when you see something different happen in your life, write it down and then say, well, this could be my miracle. Title it Miracles. And say it could be my miracle, but if it's not, that's okay with it. But if it is a miracle and things happen with that one little thing that happened, yes, it was your miracle. We hear miracles every day. We also hear about angels every day. And sometimes
there's signs that are given that people don't they ignore, but they think about it later. I just thought about this as a sign, and it's not necessarily, let's say, it's a sign that would allow, like, how would someone know this? I remember being a kid growing up. My parents came from Italy. We lived in this one house, and my mom and dad, my mother's parents still lived in Sicily. I should say Sicily. They lived in Sicily. And I remember growing up here in America and my mom going around the house saying she smelled something. Like there's like, she goes, I feel like I can smell a skunk or something really. And my mom was really, really strongly saying she could smell it. Now, all of us, as little kids are like, trying to smell around the house. We're like, we don't smell anything. My father's looking around that we don't smell anything. So my mom's like, no, it's here. She can smell it. And she's going in different parts of the house where she could smell it was something she could smell. So she's like, none of us could smell anything. We went through the whole afternoon not being able to smell anything. And then my uncle came over to the house and was telling my father that my mom's father had passed away. So I mean, there's different signs, and there's different things that happen. You think, oh well, that was just a smell. No, it the way it happened, how my mom said it, how she's going around the house. She's like, there's just something there's something not right here. There's something that I can smell. She didn't know what it was, but yet it was a sign of some sort, saying we believe it was a sign because after that, no one, she couldn't smell it anymore. I mean, I don't know, people have experiences like that. I'm sure your parents have stories they've told you throughout the years growing up. Do you remember any stories?
There's many stories that miracles happen. And we still like the roses. The roses are the biggest miracle in my life because sometimes it blooms in the winter, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a tree that's in my ground, and that tree people used to come around all the time because it used to spell out numbers and names. We never knew why. And then we found out there was an animal, buried on the bottom. But the key of miracles is people, or one time there was a car accident down the street. The person, was in a car accident, and she got out of the car, and well, I helped her out of the car, and then called 911. And after I helped her out of the car, it was another person that was on the other side, and he just disappeared. And I said, "Where'd he go?" And she said, "I never seen him." I said, "He was right there. He was right there." So there's angels. There are walking around us, and to this day, they're all around. They come into your life. And let me tell you another personal story because we have a carport which I sat outside. I sat outside all the time, and everybody in my neighborhood, as I said, see me. I work out there in the sun. And this one day, I decided to go out to the store. This one day, and then I decided to move the chair. Don't know why. Just decided to move the chair. And that day, when I moved the chair and went out to a store, my phone was ringing off the hook. And all my neighbors were calling me by saying, "Get home, Pearl, get home, get home." And I'm saying, why are they telling me? What's everybody so paranoid? Get home, get home. And as I rode up my street, the firemen was there, the policemen were there, everybody was there, news people were there, everybody was there. And I'm saying, what happened in my house? Somebody went through the carport, and that chair that was there wasn't there no more. So which means if I was sitting there, I would have been killed instantly. But somebody told me to move the chair to the top of the steps. And I sat there all the time, and then everybody said, "You do know you have an angel around you. You do know this is a miracle because you could have been dead. You could have been killed." But I already knew it. I already knew it because something said to me, somebody was around me making this miracle happen. And if you make a miracle happen, and you can make your own miracles happen, if you look for them, they're going to give you the signs. I believe in that too.
Yes, yes, I absolutely do. I just thought of another story. I
Go
mean, I
ahead.
was on the expressway one time, a four-lane expressway, and of course, cars are going 65 miles an hour. It just so happens this one car in the middle of the expressway was driving, and literally his car completely turned in the opposite direction. Here I am driving behind this car. It was as if and this is the freaky part of it. It was as if everyone in that one moment knew to go around this vehicle. This car was not touched. This car was not touched in the middle. Nobody at the car. And I just remember passing the incident and seeing this guy's face as the car was turning around and realizing that how what a miracle it was that no one had hit this man in the car and that I didn't hit him and no one else, we just basically went around it. But here we are in a 65-mile-per-hour expressway, and the chances of that happening, I mean, what are the chances of
No,
that? That is a
no,
miracle.
that was a miracle.
I actually, to be honest with you, I was so shaken by the experience and moved by it that I actually got off the expressway and parked on the side just to say thank you to the God, to thank you to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, this is amazing. I mean, you're shaking like I can't believe, and to see this man's face. Can you imagine just turning your car around and being able to see all these cars coming in that direction when you're going 65? I mean, that I still to this day think about it. You just jogged my memory thinking about
Well,
that.
as I said, many things happen. I'm not sure is because we're overly spiritual. I don't think so, because everybody out there could be spiritual. They're just not looking for it. But I look for these signs, and sometimes I ask for the signs. When I'm saying I ask for the signs, people that you passed away, you care for your loved ones that passed away, and sometimes I ask God, and I'll say, give me signs that I know they're out there, they're okay, and everything else. And then one time I did say about a loved one that passed away, I said, give me a rainbow. Give me a rainbow. And I told my neighbors that. I always tell them, when I want something, when I'm asking God something, I'll say, give me a rainbow. And got all the calls. And they said, walk outside here, Pearl. You got to come outside. I walked outside. I got my message. A rainbow just covered my house. Just covered my house. So, but you see, I believe in them. I believe in miracles. I believe in angels. There's angels walking around us. And sometimes I always say, there's angels that are in your life right now. They're here, they're gone, and sometimes angels will stay in your life for a long time, but they're out to help you. They're out to, and they're caused on this earth to help you. And you don't know why. You can't figure it out, but you're not supposed to figure it out because they're here for a reason. I always say Josie's my angel. She says I'm her angel, but the thing is, we are to each other.
Yes.
We are.
Yes, very much so.
I mean, we say it in a laughter, but it's the truth.
Yes. I was thinking while we're doing a show that there's viewers out there that I know they have a great angel story. Angel story, something that they experienced. And here's what we're going to invite you to do. We invite you to send it into our email, send it into us and give us, obviously when you send it in, you're giving us permission to share the story on the air with our viewers. And would it be awesome if we had so many thousands of stories and had a book made out of angels are real? What with the guardian angels discovered, that angels are real.
Put your name, if you want to put your address, it's up to you. But if you're proud because you think there was a miracle or something in your life. Josie and I, I'm an author. Josie's going to become an author shortly. But the thing is, we will. And what she just said, it would be really nice for us to put another little book out on the angel stories, on your personal experiences, and put your name, you don't have to put your complete address, but please, what state you're in. And if we can print it. And then, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Your angel story or something that happened to you, it's going to be printed where the whole world is seeing it,
Yes, yes. Imagine if every person in America just shared, if they had a story, they share the story. Imagine what the level of spirituality that would be raised in this country to know that there are people that are experiencing divine situations, but they don't always share their stories, but they are evidently there.
Well, why don't you share your stories, though? And here's why people do not share the stories. Remember I said about the car accident that was up there and there was a man there and then he wasn't there? Well, this is why people do not share the story. They don't share it because they think no one's going to believe me. It didn't happen. I'm doing a coincidence right now, but if you believe in spiritual world, if you believe in angels, miracles, if you believe in God is the greatest source of the miracle, and He's going to make things happen. And I said to Josie all the time, "You're not going to believe this. There was this book under my car, and you're not going to believe this. What this book is about." And sometimes I shock myself because I'm saying, well, who planted this there? No one was around my car. And then she gets shocked too. Even though we believe in miracles, we get shocked.
Yes,
so
we do.
We get shocked because we're saying it's like forcing us to see it over and over and over again, where we are in shock ourselves, even though we believe in it strongly.
Yes. Well, here's what to tell you that if you come into my office, in my business office, you'll see on my desk, I have a whole bunch of different books, all of them. One of them says expect a miracle, and the power of God and things of that nature. There's all these different things on there, but it's a mindset, it's a belief system, and we do expect them. We do expect the miracles. We do pray on for certain things, but even when they come, you're like, oh my goodness, this is really happening. Yes. This is amazing. Yeah. And then that's why we're so advocates of getting you in touch with God, is because we know it's possible through our own experiences. Yeah, and we're telling you stories because if you have a story to tell us, we're not going to say you're crazy. We're not going to say you're nuts. This is why we're giving you our personal stories with it. I have one more story of an angel. Well, this one story is, as I said, a friend of mine did die, and I wanted a sign, but I wasn't looking for the sign. And me and my neighbor were sitting out there, and a butterfly flew
right up to me, right up to me. It was a yellow butterfly, and it was cold outside. So I decided to get a jar, went inside, got a jar, brought the butterfly inside, and I put it in a plant. Well, obviously it didn't like the plant. It went on my couch. It flew on my couch. And I'm saying, why this butterfly don't like a plant, likes my couch instead? But I didn't think nothing of it. And I had a seminar to do the next day. So the next day came, and here I am. I woke up the next morning. The butterfly was gone. And I thought, where'd the butterfly go? It was on the floor. It died. And I was so sad over this, but I picked up the butterfly and I put it on my fireplace and I let it sit there. And the people that were picking me up for the seminar, the butterfly moved. And he said, your butterfly, there's a butterfly up there. Now, and I said, no, the butterfly died. No, the wings are flapping. And I said, oh my God, do you see it alive? It was dead. Well, in the meantime, we went to the seminar. I did the seminar. I came back. The yellow butterfly turned into, I mean, this is no God, I have pictures of it. This yellow butterfly turned all white and the wings were out like an angel.
Oh my Lord.
So, and I was going to save it. But somebody said, no, you have to bury this now because for the freedom and the independence that this person wanted. And that's what I did. I buried it on my side. But this butterfly turned white of an angel and the wings were out.
Wow.
So there's so many stories that people like you can tell us, or you. We have so many stories, but you're right. We should put this into, the Garden Angels stories of events.
Yes.
That are taking place.
It would be awesome just if you ever, I don't know how many people really talk to their neighbors like they used 2 years ago, but I mean, I think everybody has a story in their family. Growing up, my parents had tons of stories, different things they experienced. And I think, like you said, when you have an adult or family member that has had these, experiences, you're introduced to them early age that miracles do happen. I mean, I know someone who actually said that they went into a pool and they thought that they were drowning in a pool, and there was someone mysteriously allowing them to breathe under the water. Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds dyslexic. No, that's what they said. No, they felt like they could still breathe under the water, and then they were raised up above the water so that they could. I mean, it's just there's countless stories, and the more people share, it's like this is what happened to me, or this is what happened to my uncle, or this is what happened to my aunt, this is what happened to my parents. You're like, oh my goodness, this is not unusual. Miracles are real. They're happening every day.
Repeat to the people though what you just said. If they send us their stories.
Yeah, the more people that really open up about their stories, I think it's just going to empower the entire world with knowing that God is present. So if you have experienced an angel encounter or something that you just feel was definitely an experience that was positive for you, like a miracle or a coincidence that you believe was really a divine experience and a reason for that experience happening in that moment, then write us, send us an email. You just go directly to our website at guardianangelsdreamteam.com or the Guardian Angels of Justice and Peace.com. You can go in there. There'll be a place where you can send an email, make it real easy for you. Just go to our email button and send us your story. And if we'll give you a call. Make sure you put your phone number on there. We'll let you know if we're going to actually share or publish the actual the experience.
And if you have a really good one, and look how many angel stories could be out there. And maybe this is good because maybe all the angels out there are saying, "Thank God, now we're going to appreciate it," or somebody from all the angels out there are saying to you, it could be your personal angel.
And if there's an angel that wants to be on our show,
there could be angels out there to say.
Angels. Yes.
No, there are angels walking among us. I do believe there's angels walking among us in every form, and we see that in car accidents. The person that saved somebody in a car accident and then you don't see them again. They just walked away. And these are the people that you wonder. I always do when I'm in a situation and I see somebody walking and I see what's going on and then I never see that person again. I'm saying, were they an angel in my life? Did they just come in here for a reason? And it could be a coincidence there, but I'm not looking at that kind of a miracle. I'm looking at miracles that actually did happen in your life too. It does happen. I'd like to hear about it because I'm so into miracles, angels, and things that happen. I believe that the angels want us to say, tell us about it. Come on, open up. We want the people to know we're real.
Yes. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about there are parents out there that have stories with their children where children experience something that they felt was like an angel or something. And I mean, children are so innocent when they share their stories. You listen. There was one little boy who said he had surgery and he thought he saw Jesus when he had surgery.
Mhm.
I mean, he shares his story,
Mhm.
intimate details, things that his parents never even told this little boy.
Mhm.
When he came back from surgery, he was telling his mom and dad that he saw his sister and with next to Jesus, and he never knew that his parents had lost a sister. I mean, there's definitely miracles happening and wonderful stories, and we want to definitely hear more about them.
I think it's great, but expect, as Josie said, expect a miracle. Don't say I don't believe in them. Say expect a miracle, and things will happen. We expect miracles every day. Josie and I expect miracles every day. What's happening in our life, and we are getting them. We are
Amen.
getting them. We talk about it, it comes. We sing it, it comes. So and sometimes people will put the miracles in our life by saying, "Yeah, something's with this." Like it's just Burl yesterday.
Yes,
He's actually
yes.
telling you, and sometimes things happen for a reason. There's no coincidences in life, and if you think there is, you better get a wake up call. You better get a wake up call. We're on this earth it's temporary basis on this earth, and one day we're going to leave this earth, and all our possessions are not going to come with us. So we're going to have just strong possessions on this earth, and they're gone. They're actually gone. So they're in flea markets. They're in other people's houses. So they're gone. But some of the people in your life, and it could be strangers. It could be miracle people that are helping you, and you're saying, "Wow, this person came into my life, and they're like an angel in disguise." I say it every day with certain people, and I say it with Josie. I say it with Josie all the time. But you see, they come into your life, and they're there for a reason. And these angels are there to help you, protect you. And this is the name of the game when it comes to angels.
I was just wondering, growing up, being a kid, and was there someone in your family that you felt was really like always had a spiritual story to share? Like, was there someone in your family that influenced you in some way to open up that vessel for you?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother.
Yeah,
And
my grandmother.
what was it about it? Did she share them at like dinner table, or what was it?
Well, I mean, when I would go there, she would tell me about things that would happen. She would say, I seen your grandfather today. My grandfather was dead. I would
Oh
see
wow.
this, I would see that, and I would really be tuned into it. And as I was tuned into it, she would say, "What about you? What about you? What happened to you today?" And I would say, "Well, what happened to me? No miracles, Grandma. But here's what I seen here. That could be a miracle, Pearl. Open it up." And many, because one time, speaking about that, I mean, it was meant to be then. She said this because I was at my grandmother's house, and I sat there and I was a nervous wreck. A nervous wreck. I had anxiety, unbelievable. And my grandmother said, "What is going on with you? What is wrong with you?" I said, "Grandma, I got to leave. I have to leave and I have to go home. I have to go home now." And she was so upset because I was so upset. I didn't know why and where I had to go home. And I got in my car as if I was going 80 miles an hour. I don't know why. I don't know why I was speeding. By the time I went to my apartment, my whole apartment burned down.
Oh my lord.
And it was interesting. I was there at that time to protect a lot of things though, but the people says, "Pearl, we were so glad you weren't in here." And I called up my grandmother that quick, and I said, "How did I know? How did I know?" And she said, "Somebody told you you didn't even stay for dinner. Somebody told you to get home. Somebody told you something was happening." He said, "That was a miracle." So I never forgot that. Never forgot that. I mean, I'm only 16. I'm driving all the way home, and my apartment's on fire.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And yet I had this anxiety. I had to get home.
Yes.
And I didn't even
Yes.
stay for the spaghetti dinner at the top of it because I had to rush home. And I had a caller to say, "My apartment just burned down. My apartment just burned down."
Oh my goodness.
So there's many miracles around my life, and I see it. And I know I'm blessed. I am blessed. And I know it. I feel it. And the people around my life, people in my life, and I feel certain people in my life are blessed too. And I feel it. I know which ones are blessed, who's not. Josie is a blessed one. She's one of the chosen ones.
God
I
bless.
keep on saying we're one of the chosen ones. And we are. We are. We're performing miracles ourselves. The biggest also is animals. Animals are also, they're tuned in to angels. They're tuned into a lot of things that
So
people don't
true.
know. And you have to respect the animals because they know more than we do. If you look at your animal, they look at you like, "Boy, is she crazy." But at the same time, they're looking at you, or they may look at the ceiling and they may be seeing something. But you're not knowing what they're looking at, but there's a miracle right there. They're seeing something that you don't see. There's so much. We're going to go to a commercial break because we're almost at the end. But this hour went so quick
Oh my
when we
goodness.
talk about miracles. We'll be right back. I am so depressed. I lost my job. The bill collectors are harassing me. I have no idea what I'm going to do anymore.
Oh my goodness. You have got to stop being so negative.
So negative.
Yes, you're negative. You don't even realize that you're being negative. Do you know that every time you come in here, I always hear you say something negative? Do you know that that's actually preventing you from accomplishing your goals?
So what am I supposed to do?
You know what I think we need to do? We need to start activating some positive change.
What is this?
Activating positive change. You see, you've been saying things on a constant basis without realizing it, and we're going to start catching you. Every time I hear you say something negative, you're going to have to put $1 in our Activate Positive Change Bank.
So I'm going to make somebody rich.
You're going to make yourself rich because every time you say something negative, you're going to realize it. You're going to put $1 in here and we're going to activate some positivity. You're going to start learning and catching yourself saying something negative.
So you're forcing me into talking positive.
Well, I'm not forcing you. You're actually acknowledging it and you're making the decision to do something about it.
Thank you.
So now, how do you go about getting one of these?
How do I get one of them?
You just have to call 1-800-326-4550 because we know someone at home is negative, and if you want to go ahead and activate some positive change, you definitely want to order one of these.
I'm calling up right now. Thank you.
There's nothing more disruptive and annoying than getting an automated call to your cell phone. There are laws against companies using computers or recorded messages to call you on your cell phone without your permission. This is consumer protection attorney Carrie Flitter. You've heard me as a guest on the Pearl Polto Show. There are consumer laws in place that prohibit many of the unwanted calls to your cell phone. If you're receiving unwanted or unauthorized calls, whether collection, selling products or services, or otherwise, you may be entitled to have these calls stopped and to collect money damages that the law provides. If you're getting unwanted or pre-recorded calls to your cell phone, contact us, the Consumer Protection Lawyers at Flitter Lorenz, at 888-668-1225. That's 888-668-1225. Or online at consumerslaw.com. That's consumers with an S, consumerslaw.com. If we accept your case, the bad guys pay our bill.
Hi, I'm Pearl Polto, America's top credit expert.
And I'm Josie Brandon from Guardian Angels of Justice and Peace. We are the Guardian Angels Dream Team coming to your city. If you're someone with a low credit score or someone who's just suffered from divorce or a change of any kind, it could be a job loss, a business change, you definitely want to be coming to one of our workshops. We're going to be talking about how you can raise your credit score in less than 30 days. We're going to have workshops that are going to designed to get you to get your life back in order, and you're going to figure out how you can prosper from the destiny that you deserve to have. If you'd like to attend one of our seminars, call 1-800-326-4550. That's 1-800-326-4550.
Welcome back to the Guardian Angels of Justice and Peace. Today is about miracles, and we're getting to the end of the show because we had many miracles here today. Josie, what's your final word?
My final word is, I think you're a miracle for me as well. I know you said I'm a miracle for you, but you are a miracle for me too, and I want the world to know that as well. But, you know, I see every day as a miracle, and I think that's the gift that God's given me, is allowing me to see that. And I just pray anybody that's out here watching our show tonight, if you've been thinking about it, maybe you experienced something, I hope you continue to experience the amazing miracles in your life and know that every time you look in your mirror, you're also a miracle as well.
And with that thought, we're going to go to the theme song of the Guardian Angels. This is Pearl Polto.
And this is Josie Brandon.
We are going to see you next week with another miracle.
God bless everybody.
Look at them dancing as they go across the floor. Twisting and turning and yearning for so much more. And every night you'll find them at the bay, laughing and talking all about yesterday. Just look at them gazing as he touches her head. She smiles and tells him that she's so glad that she's there. And I wanna love like that. I wanna love like that. So don't ever tell me that long love just cannot be found. 'Cause when you look for it, you'll find that it's all around. So don't ever tell me that long love just cannot be found. 'Cause when you look for it, you'll find that it's all